Welcome, everyone. Let's dive into the details of the tragic incident that shook political circles. Yes, the assassination of Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah.
Indeed. It's a really dense and complicated event with layers of investigation, political maneuvering, and social aftershocks.
Exactly. So, on September 10, 2025, during the first stop of his American comeback tour, Charlie Kirk was fatally shot by a sniper on the roof of a building.
Right, and the details are chilling. He was engaged in dialogue with an audience member when, suddenly, music of gunfire shattered the event's calm.
Yeah. The shooter used a .30-06 Mauser M98 bolt-action rifle. The assassin was positioned roughly 142 yards away from the speaking tent. Quite a precise distance for a sniper shot.
Yep, that's a long range. Now, what's really striking is how quickly investigators pieced together the timeline from security camera footage and eyewitness reports.
Right. They documented movements, from spotted appearances near stairwells and parking garages to the shooter finally getting on the roof of the Losey Center at around 12:22 p.m.
The timeline is almost cinematic in its precision. And then a single fatal shot at 12:23 p.m. hit him in the neck. One reporter described the scene as horrifically graphic with blood and chaos.
Absolutely. The immediate response was dramatic. Campus closure, urgent police action, and soon after, the suspect, Tyler James Robinson, surrendered at the sheriff's office just the following day.
Yeah, I heard he was just 22 years old. Right. And he faced serious charges. Aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, obstruction of justice, witness tampering, you name it.
Exactly. Prosecutors even announced their intention to seek the death penalty, citing political motivations, along with the fact that children were present at the event.
The presence of minors really complicated things. Speaking of motivations, there's a lot of discussion about whether this was politically motivated. Many noted Kirk's controversial stances, particularly his comments on issues like transgender rights, which were a flashpoint for some.
Yes, and that's where it gets messy. On one hand, government officials and some conservatives immediately pointed fingers at left-wing entities as inciting climate.
But on the other hand, multiple investigations found no concrete ties linking Robinson with any formal left-wing groups.
Exactly.
Right.
His texts and social media chats even hinted at personal motivations, like being fed up with what he saw as hateful rhetoric from Kirk.
There were also unsettling messages that emerged in Discord chats, ranging from joking about a doppelganger framing him to explicit admissions of planning over a week.
Yes, and while those messages stirred up a storm of conspiracy theories online, investigators managed to connect critical evidence, including DNA on a towel and bullet casings with inscriptions.
Inscriptions like Bella Ciao and a bizarre game input sequence. Right. The engraved messages not only baffled investigators, but also fueled wild speculation online. Some inscriptions, like, "If you read this, you are gay LMAO," added a particularly disturbing, taunting element.
And this is where misinformation really started to spread like wildfire. Social media platforms saw doctored images, misattributed quotes, and even claims about the shooter portraying a transgender persona popped up.
Yes, which shows how quickly rumors can take root in a politically charged atmosphere. Exactly. There was also widespread commentary on both sides. Conservative figures like former President Trump immediately used the tragedy to call for crackdowns against left-leaning groups, even before all the facts were clear.
And that sparked major controversy. Many free speech advocates and legal experts criticized those actions as using an act of violence to, further partisan agendas.
I'd even say that there was a notable bypass of traditional unifying rhetoric usually expected in the wake of national tragedies. I have a slight critique here. Sometimes the narratives on both sides reduce the complexity of political violence to a purely ideological battle, ignoring deeper societal issues.
True, and that's a very good point. It's like painting over all the evidence with broad brushstrokes, ignoring the nuances of, say, radicalization through internet culture, individual grievances, and the overall increase in political violence over recent years.
Exactly. It's not a black and white situation at all. And speaking of societal impact, let's not forget the aftermath. There were immediate campus shutdowns at UVU, massive public outcry, and even legislative discussions about gun control and school security across the nation.
Right. The event was a watershed moment that, among other things, highlighted the dramatic increase in politically motivated attacks and even triggered national debates over free speech and safe environments on campus.
And And you saw immediate social media reactions that encompassed everything from grief to outrage. Exactly. And the ensuing manhunt, which lasted for over 33 hours, united law enforcement efforts across multiple agencies like the FBI and ATF. There was even video footage released and a hefty reward offered, about $100,000, to track down critical leads.
Right, the multi-agency coordination was impressive, but it also raised concerns about privacy, surveillance, and, the balance between public safety and civil liberties.
Definitely a double-edged sword in today's digital world. And then, politically, this incident further polarized an already divided nation. While many in the right celebrated Kirk's legacy, others on both sides condemned the idea of politicizing his death.
Right, and a bunch of prominent voices from both political spectrums called for unity, even as partisan responses continued to fly fast and furious.
It's that tragic irony where an act meant to silence one side ends up amplifying the conflict overall. And international reactions weren't far behind. Global leaders offered condolences, yet some European right-wing figures used the incident to bolster their narratives against liberal policies.
Absolutely. Even cultural responses were intense, with memorials, vigils spread nationwide, and even proposed statues in Kirk's honor, despite controversies around his views.
Right? And it's interesting how memorialization can sometimes become a battleground for political messaging. And what about the media? The coverage was all over the place. Some networks saw record-breaking viewership, while others faced criticism for, whitewashing or exaggerating parts of the story.
Yes, the media played a huge role in shaping public perception. There was a sort of media frenzy, not just about the incident itself, but about how it was, spun politically. A topic that remains deeply contentious.
Media narratives can often sensitize or polarize audiences further. And let's not forget the aftermath in terms of social repercussions. There were mass firings for social media posts supporting or criticizing the incident, showing how this tragedy also stirred up cancel culture dynamics.
Right. The reverberations reached almost every sphere: academia, corporate, political, even entertainment. It really highlighted the fraught intersection of free speech, political identity, and accountability.
Yes, and that's perhaps one of the most alarming aspects for our society. It's also worth noting how conspiracy theories and misinformation, fueled by both advanced AI tools and social media bots, complicated public understanding further.
Definitely, the murkiness of online narratives compounded the tragedy. It became a case study in how misinformation and hyper-partisan messaging can distort even the most clearly documented events.
A powerful reminder of the need for media literacy in our time. And overall, while the loss of Charlie Kirk is undeniably tragic, it serves as a stark wake-up call about political violence in modern America, a phenomenon that's only growing in intensity.
Absolutely. And the incident compels us to ask deeper questions about political rhetoric, the role of social media, and the mechanisms of radicalization, not just in isolated cases, but as part of a broader cultural shift.
And it challenges us to seek solutions that are as nuanced and multifaceted as the issues themselves. In conclusion, this event, tragic as it is, reflects an America deeply divided, where the intersections of politics, violence, and media create a complex, sometimes chaotic narrative that affects how society mobilizes and grieves.
Exactly. And while we can debate the political narratives, the human cost remains indisputable. Thanks for unpacking this with me, and let's hope these discussions guide us toward broader understanding and maybe a less violent future.
Absolutely. Here's to hoping for a more reasoned discourse and better safeguards against such tragedies in the future.